Hey, what's up, guys? This is your man DX, and today on the Elite DX channel, we're going to be going over a blog post from a guy who, I guess he posted this a few years ago, but this is gaining a little more attention. Quite a few YouTubers have done recent videos about this post here. And there are a few recent comments on the blog post. So it's one of those things that's probably just gaining again in popularity. So I wanted to go over this and see what's going on with it and give you my take on it. It's called "The Moment I Realized I'm Undateable." And it's by a man named Rajiv Mirchandani. And to me, this guy is a man who's considered, in my eyes, he's weak and he's beaten down by a society that kind of shuns him. And it's, to me, I consider myself to be partial MGTOW or mostly MGTOW, meaning that the MGTOW philosophy is something that I understand, I empathize with, and I agree with about 75% of it. Now, there are parts of it that I don't agree with. That's why I'm partial MGTOW. And basically, I believe you can still interact with women and still, make your way through this world and the dating world and do what you have to do and take care of yourself and focus on your goals all at the same time. Now, that's just my philosophy, but I have mad respect for all my guys out there who went full MGTOW, monk MGTOW, whatever you want to call it. Y'all got my full respect. I understand you. I appreciate it. I just happen to not agree with some of the principles. So the philosophy of MGTOW is something I believe in, but not with all of it. So this man's name, Rajiv Mirchandani, he is talking here about how he feels undateable. And it's mostly because of a few things that happened to him, like on dating apps and all these things. So let's get into it. So the post starts out, "I'm sure you read the title of this, rolled your eyes, and wrote it off as some sad story complaining about how my dating life sucks. But keep reading, and you might see it a little differently, just like I do. The last year and a half of my life has been surreal. I've been completely out of the dating game, but not for your usual reasons, like I'm taking a break, or I'm working on myself, or the ever so popular I'm doing me. For me, it's a little bit different. It's something more permanent than just working on myself for a year or two. By the way, as a side note here, nothing wrong with working on yourself, and you should be doing that all the time. Shouldn't be taking a break away from dating just to work on yourself. You should be working on yourself all the time, constantly striving to make you the best you that you can be. And that's regardless of whether you're talking to women or not. In any situation, focus on you first." So it continues, "I quit dating because I realized that I'm not really the type of guy that people want to date or be in a relationship with. At first, it was painful to come to the conclusion that I'm undateable. I mean, who the hell would want to consider themselves to be that way? But it's actually been one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me. But before I get into that, I'll let you guys in on how I figured it out. Now let me pause there for a second. Who the hell cares about what other people think about you? See, this guy already is showing his weaknesses, because a real man doesn't care what other people think about him. You just go ahead and continue to do you and do whatever you're going to do. But in this society we live in now, with all the weak males, 95% of males are weak beta males, so they care about what other people think about them. And that's partly because of social conditioning, family conditioning, and just being oriented into this society where you're supposed to, as a man, put everything else ahead of you, including women, children. Everybody else is supposed to be ahead of you, and you just worry about yourself last. Well, I've never subscribed to that philosophy. I've dealt with hundreds of women. I've been very successful with women, and there's no bitterness toward women in me, and there's no rejection in the past from women. There's no, because I let stuff bounce off of me, and I'll get to that a little bit later. And also, I'm a man who knows who I am. I'm comfortable in my skin, and I don't really care what other people think about me. And that's my point. Why would you care? So that's my first initial thing about this guy is weird, or weak, not weird, but weak, because he cares what other people think about him. Don't be weak. So let's continue here. We've all heard the different reasons for being turned down. They're not ready for a relationship right now. They just got out of a relationship and just want something casual. They're working on themselves. They're moving to Antarctica. Kidding, hopefully. The list goes on and on and on. Whether they're legit reasons or not, we've all heard them. Well, let me tell you something. These reasons that women give that he just mentioned, they're not ready for a relationship right now. They just got out of a relationship, just want something casual. They're working on themselves. These are all phony reasons. Okay? Women, when they say these things to you, it just means, let's take the first one. They're not ready for a relationship now. There's two words missing off of the end of that. They're not ready for a relationship now with you. Okay? Every one of these reasons, just put the word with you on the end of it. Because I've met plenty of women in my travels and in my experiences that don't want a relationship with that guy, like the one writing this article, but they were willing to jump into one with me. You see, they just got out of a relationship and just want something casual with you. Okay. That's what it is. Okay. So what you do with that is you immediately assume a posture with the female that, well, I don't want one either. And I was going to tell you that myself. So if you do that, it makes them look at you in a whole different light. Like, oh, okay, this guy is not the average thirsty male who wants me like she's run into 25 times before. And she's going to look at you differently. Like, okay, and then you back it up. You don't just say it, you back it up. You go 2 or 3 days without talking to her. You don't text her. You don't give her any of your attention. Then she'll figure out, hey, this guy, he really isn't tripping off of me. So maybe I should pursue him. And then they'll start pursuing you. That's the key. You got to be confident in yourself. And when they give you these little reasons like that, just ignore it. Because obviously they're judging you as a beta male. So you can either do something and say something that puts you in a different light so they don't look at you as a beta male, or you can just leave it alone. All right. So let's continue. I'd hear from them all the time. I'd meet a girl. We'd have a great chemistry, and then I'd get hit with the excuse. But I started to notice a disturbing trend. After telling me they weren't ready for a relationship, that same girl would enter into a relationship with another guy between 2 to 3 months later. In one case, as early as 2 weeks later. It actually got so predictable that I would be able to call it like clockwork before it even happened. If only we could bet on this in Vegas. Well, first of all, the obvious thing is, why are you following these women so closely that you know what's happening with them 2 or 3 months later? I mean, whether you're following them on social media or you're keeping in contact with them, basically being friend zoned by them and staying in contact by phone or email, or you're just following their social media, why do you care? How would you even know that they're in a relationship 2 or 3 months later? When I was dating and going through this crap, if a woman said some stuff like that to me and I just figured it wasn't worth the effort and I didn't care, I didn't know what in the hell she was doing 2 or 3 months later. I didn't really care because I had moved on to somebody else. Actually, I had other people spinning at the same time and just let somebody else advance forward and just forgot all about her. So that's number one. Why do you care? And why are you following them to see that they got into a relationship? You shouldn't even know what they did 2 or 3 months later. If there's somebody who's ruled you out as somebody they can have anything with, why would you even know that? So yeah. And then number two, he's taking it too personal and he cares too much. If a woman tells you, I'm not ready for a relationship, I don't want to be in a relationship, what she's telling you is she doesn't want to be in a relationship with you, because the way she sees you is as a beta male, and her thing is step off, get the hell on if you're a weak man, and if you're not a weak man, come up with something to where I'm not going to look at you as a weak man. That's all that is. He's saying that he would get involved with them, he would hear from them, they'd have great chemistry. Now that's relative, because you might think you have great chemistry and she might not. And then you would get hit with the excuse. See, when she hits you with the excuse, I don't want to be in a relationship, or I just got a relationship, that means she didn't have great chemistry with you. So he's delusional right there. He's thinking they have great chemistry, but according to her, they don't. Because a woman doesn't act that way to you if she has good chemistry with you. Good chemistry to a woman is, do you tickle her fancy, if you know what I mean? Do you make her drain a lot of fluids in the lower regions? When she's looking at you, talking to you, being touched by you, do you make her drain fluids in the lower region? That's what she wants to feel. And so obviously he didn't do that for these women. And I can only imagine he's just a weak man who probably isn't very attractive physically either. So what do you expect? Anyway, so you can't take what they say and take it as truth. First of all, and then why are you getting so attached so early? Why are you feeling like you have to make everything into a relationship? You don't even know this person. I mean, just because she may look good or whatever, it doesn't mean she's a good mate for you in a relationship. And why are you pursuing a relationship in the first place? You're a man. You don't pursue a relationship. A woman's supposed to be pursuing a relationship with you. That's the way it's always happened for me. So this trend he's observing of women having a so-called chemistry with him, and they meet up and it seems good, and then the girl would say, give him an excuse, I don't want to be in a relationship. That's all in his mind. Okay? Don't create that. If you need to up your game, or you need to become more of a type of person that they do want to sleep with, let's say, change your game. Change who your persona is in front of these women. So anyway, let's continue on. About 2 years ago, it happened again with a girl that I really thought it would work out with. It ended up being the exact same result, but with double the heartache in the end. Heartache? Let's stop right there. Heartache? What? Why are you getting your heart hurt? You're a man. Don't do that. Just, oh my God, there's so much wrong with this. So let's continue. She was beautiful, probably out of my league. Self-esteem issues. But let me stop interrupting. It ended up being the exact same result, but with double the heartache in the end. She was beautiful, probably out of my league. We went on some great dates. The chemistry was undeniable. We clicked, and I thought it was finally my time to break the streak. Okay, so he says about 2 years ago, he went out with this chick. It ended up being the exact same result. Okay, so what did you do wrong? First of all, he says it ended up with double the heartbreak. Why are you even speaking about heartbreak? You shouldn't even have any feelings invested in any women until you've been out with them multiple times. You've already been to bed with them. You've already established something. That's when you start having a feeling for a woman. So right away, you're catching feelings for women. That's your number one mistake. Then he goes, she was beautiful, probably out of his league. Low self-esteem. Never think a woman is out of your league. No woman is out of your league. And if she is, she's just temporarily out of your league, because there's always a guy who's probably much like you, who has a couple of little things different about him that she's going to go ahead and bed down and want to be with. He says we went on some great dates and chemistry was undeniable. Undeniable to you, but not to her. See, women are chameleons. Women, they will put on the front that they are enjoying themselves, that they have chemistry with you, when they know in their mind and in their heart that you're not doing it to them. Like I said before, you're not making them tingle. You're not making the water flow down below. You know what I mean? You got to make that water flow down below when they think about you, when you touch them, when they're with you. You gotta turn them on. He's not turning them on, but to him, the chemistry is good. And that just goes to show how different women and men are. See, especially an emotional man like this, he's emotional. So let's continue. Surely enough, she came at me with the, by the way, I just got out of a relationship, just wanting something casual, blah, blah, blah. Of course, because she's not attracted to you like that. That's woman code for either step your game up and be the dude that I'm looking for, or I gotta bounce. That's woman code. She's not attracted to you at this point, but she's giving you a chance. That's code for get your shit together and make me feel something when I'm with you. That's code. That's woman code. She's giving you a chance though. So at least she's saying that, because if a woman really is not attracted to you and doesn't think she's ever going to be, she won't even say that. She'll just go out with you, enjoy the meal, go home that night, and completely lose your number and don't know who you are 2 weeks later. But at least she's saying, just got a relationship, don't want anything serious, just casual. What she's telling you is, you ain't that dude. But you probably could be if you would just bring it. So anyway, let's continue. He goes on. I know. I should have bounced as soon as she said that shit, especially after all I had been through. Trust me, I knew what I should have done. But this girl was just so great. I knew I had to try and stick it out this time. After all, I had walked away from so many similar situations because of my past, and I just had to see this one through. I knew we could break through that barrier if I played it cool enough. By now, I'm sure you guys know the rest of the story. It ended because she wasn't looking for a relationship. About 3 months later, surprise, surprise, I see that she's in a relationship. Let me stop right there. Dude, again, why do you even know what she's doing 2.5, 3 months later? Why do you even care? Number two, she's letting you know what it is she's attracted to and what she wants in a man. This is the type of chick, and I've met many chicks like this. She doesn't want a man who is looking for a relationship. She's the type that gets stuck on a man who's not looking for a relationship. Basically, she wants a man who treats her like shit. A man who doesn't give a shit about her, a man who doesn't care what she wants. And your best bet at that juncture there, when she tells you an excuse like that, is, I don't give a fuck, and just walk away from her. I don't give a fuck, and then just walk away from her. She'll be calling you the next day. Bank on it. And you're saying that, oh, this girl is so great and all that just because she looks good. You're thinking way more highly of her than she does of her own self. You know, you can't come at it as from a position of weakness and a position of wanting a relationship and being needy and a position of scarcity like that. Literally, trust me, there's millions upon millions of good-looking women out there. So it's a thing of the frame of mind. If she's showing you that she wants a guy that doesn't give a fuck, show her a guy that doesn't give a fuck. That's what she wants. Okay? Just walk away. You know, if she gives you that excuse and say, I don't want a relationship, say, okay, fine. And just say, okay, have a nice night. And she'll be wondering what's on your mind. So then she tries to call your number, don't answer. Don't talk to her for about 2 weeks. And when you do talk to her, make it very clear that you're dating other women and you don't really care. That's the fastest way to get them to respond to you. Trust me, it works. See, that's what smart men do. When you're dating, you're not in a serious relationship, you want to date 4 or 5 women, 6 women at a time, so that if somebody falls off, you still got this one over here that you can probably get with, or that one, and you learn from all your experiences. You learn how you should be, how you should not be. And number 1, don't catch feelings for women early. That's number 1. Don't. Treat them like they're disposable, because they're going to treat you like that. Okay, so he's saying, oh, okay, let me try to make this work. It's not going to work, dude. Women know what they want and what they don't want, first of all. But if they're talking to you, they're giving you a chance. So you need to know what to do when that happens. So anyway, let's continue. So there I was, failed again. This was supposed to be the time it finally worked out. When I wasn't looking for a relationship, when I was looking for a relationship, when it was a girl I really liked, when it was a girl that I could do without, it was always the same result. I had to accept the fact that I am undateable. See, there's that self-esteem again. Never do that to yourself. You're not undateable. You just don't know what to do. Okay? And you're saying you failed again. You didn't fail. The shithole known as female nature fooled you again. That's all. The thing is, when you're dealing with modern women, you have to be sort of a mind reader and a trickster, and you have to be a guy who doesn't take them seriously. That's the thing. So let's continue. But like I said earlier, coming to this realization has been one of the best things that ever happened to me. Once I started owning it, I became more comfortable in my own skin. I don't worry about rejection anymore because I've already been through the worst rejections. It's helped rid me of a lot of my own insecurities because I'm more accepting of who I am. My mind is freed up to think about more important things than why dating has never worked out for me, or why women never thought I was good enough for them. It's just completely turned an insecure, worrywart kid into a man who is comfortable with himself, his path, and all the good and bad that comes with it. In the spirit of full disclosure, I will admit to you guys that there are 2 days out of the year when I do feel bad about my undateableness, undateability, whatever the hell you want to call it. And those days are Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve. But hey, 2 out of 365 days a year ain't too bad. Well, you got a self-esteem problem, my man. And probably the reason why is you're too sentimental because you've been raised by women. So you have to get a toughness to your heart, man. You have to get a toughness and be a man. Like I said, you don't jump into feelings for any woman just because she's pretty and you've been out with her a couple of times. That's just ridiculous. Don't do that. Number 2, don't worry about why they're rejecting you. Who cares? Like I said, have multiple women spending. See, men need to get back to the way we were. Having toughness about us, not caring about what people think, and not... See, this dude obviously was raised by a lot of women in his family. But anyway, I digress. Let me continue. I know admitting that you're undateable still sounds fucked up to a lot of you. It's definitely not something that most people would admit or accept about themselves. But maybe your takeaway from this post is that no matter what your lifestyle is, no matter what you think about yourself, no matter what others think about you, no matter how crazy, fucked up or lonely your path is, own that shit. Well, sort of in a way. My thing is, yeah, don't care about what other people think about you. And who cares what your lifestyle is? That's all up to you. What you think about yourself, yeah, you need to correct that. You need to think highly of yourself because you are the prize. Remember, no matter how crazy, fucked up, or lonely, you don't have to be crazy, fucked up, or lonely. If you just stop focusing so much on having a quote unquote love affair with a woman in your life, don't focus on that shit. Move on, do what you gotta do for yourself, and if it comes along, fine. If it doesn't, then whatever. Just keep it pushing. Be a man on your purpose and on your path. And yes, own that shit. But change. If you want to get laid, which is the only reason I see even dealing with women to be a valid reason, is to get laid. Because forget all the marriage and relationships and all that crap, because you're just putting yourself through some stuff. If you want to do that, if you want to get laid, figure out how to do it. It's just like any other thing you figure out how to do. Like if you're running a business, if you're trying to get a job, you figure out how to do it. Figure out how to get laid by women. It's not hard. I've been with over 300 women. It's not hard at all. I'm an above average looking guy. I'm 6'3". I kind of got a nice physique, but it's not hard. Even for men who are not that great looking. I know, because I know some men like that. So anyway, the last couple of paragraphs here. Accept your strengths, accept your weaknesses, and don't let anything stop you from being comfortable with yourself. True. After all, the happiest people in the world are the ones who are comfortable in their own skin. So embrace your flaws, embrace your weirdness, and if you're like me, embrace your undateableness. That term I have a problem with. You're not undateable. You just haven't figured out how to get laid by women, and you haven't figured out how to keep your emotions and feelings in control, and you haven't really figured out how to be a man. I don't know how old this guy is that wrote this article, but I'm assuming he's in his 20s, maybe mid to late 20s, because he mentioned growing up from a kid to a man. So I'm assuming he's in his mid to late 20s, and then it's been a few years since he wrote this. So hopefully he got some great advice. But men like this are weak, and it's from being raised by women, and it's from being worrying too much about what other people think about you, and your mother and your auntie and all that telling you to be sensitive and care about what people think and all this other crap. So the bottom line here, folks, we need to learn how to be men again. And part of being a man is sometimes being cruel, ruthless, and uncaring. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. Those are male traits. We're not nurturers. We're just realists. So anyway, this has been your man DX. And if you enjoyed this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And go ahead and let some friends know about my channel. I've recently changed my channel format over to sort of a MGTOW type, PUA type channel. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos in that vein. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. This is your man DX, and I am out.